All right, today we're talking about factoring, the most important thing you can learn in this class. So it starts with a couple easy steps. The first step is multiply the first and last numbers. So that's the number at the front, that's the number at the back. So in this case, the first number, well, there isn't one, so there's a 1 there. The last number is a positive 12. So we need to find a pair of numbers so the product is the first times the last, right? So here, when I did 1 times positive 12, I got positive 12. So I can remember that as xy equals 12, right? Something times something equals 12. And I need the sum to be the middle number. So in this case, the middle number is this positive 7. So I can write that in as x plus y equals 7, right? These two equations right here say the product is 12, the sum is 7. And the reason that that is important is that I need to put those into Desmos. I've already got them in, and I need to look for where these two equations cross each other. Sometimes they'll cross once, sometimes they'll cross twice, sometimes they'll cross 4 times. It doesn't matter which place you pick. I cannot pick this point because that is not where the two graphs cross each other. But I could pick this point, or I could pick this point. Does not matter. So 3 and 4 is the one I'll pick. So I want to rewrite your equation in the box. So I'm going to draw a box. So remember, I need 4 spaces. I need to have room to write stuff on the outside, and I need to have enough room to see what I'm writing on the inside. The first term goes in the top left. Well, the first term is this 1x squared here. The last term goes in the bottom right. The last term is this plus 12 right here. The pairs of numbers that you found with x's go in the other two boxes. So that's a Desmos question. When I went to Desmos and I found one of the crossing points, I got 3 and 4. So I'm going to put 3x and 4x. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a GCF, a greatest common factor, out of every row and every column. So here on this top row, 1 and 3, they're both divisible by 1. I have an x squared here, so I have 2 x's here and a single x here, so I can pull out an x. Along the bottom, 4 and 12, well, they're both divisible by 4. This guy has an x, but this guy does not, so I cannot pull out any x's. And I'm going to look at this sign. This guy right here, the closest guy, is a positive 4, so this will be a positive 4. I'm going to do the same thing, but going upwards. So here, 1 and 4, they're both divisible by 1. I've got x squared and x, that's going to be an x. I've got a 3 and a 12, they're both divisible by 3. X, no x, so no x. And if I look at this guy closest, it's positive, so here I am. The set of numbers that you pulled out of the top and sides become your factors. And factors is just a fancy word for things inside the parentheses. So I'm going to have 1x plus 4 and 1x plus 3. And there it is, all factored up. These steps feel like a lot, but as soon as you get some practice, and they actually go really, really quickly. So I'm just going to do the next set of examples. So firstly, I need to find my product and my sum. And I usually write that out, xy and x plus y. xy, so the first number times the last number. So 2 times negative 10 makes negative 20. My sum is the number in the middle. There isn't a number in the middle, so I have to know that that's a positive 1. Right. This goes into Desmos. I guess I could have rewritten that. xy equals negative 20, and x plus y equals 1. Now, in this case, I've got 2 crossing points, 1 on either side. I'm just going to take this. Negative 4 and 5. So I'm going to draw my box. The first term goes in the first box. The last term goes in the last box. And if I remember the crossing point that I chose, it doesn't matter. You could choose this crossing point, no harm. But I chose negative 4x and 5x. Now I'm going to pull out greatest common factors. Between 2x squared and 4x, they're both divisible by 2. They both have an x. Now notice, since the guy closest is positive, I'm going to pull out a positive. Between 5x and 10, they're both divisible by 5. Since the guy closest is positive, I'm pulling out a positive. I usually write it for the second one. If I go upwards, 2 and 5, well, they're not divisible by anything except 1. I could write the 1 or I could leave it out, does not matter. Between negative 4 and negative 10, they're both divisible by negative 2. And so my factors are going to be 2x plus 5, 1x minus 2. And like I said, if you didn't want to write the 1 there and you just wanted to say x minus 2, that would be just fine. All right, I'm actually going to go down to this guy. 4x squared minus 3x minus 1. So I'm going to start with my product and my sum. The product, 4 times negative 1, will be negative 4. The sum will be the number in the middle, so it will be negative 3. If I put those into Desmos, and I'll be a little bit smarter about this and just rewrite these numbers. Negative 4 and negative 3. I could choose this point, or I could choose this point. And you'll notice that those numbers are just switched around. So it looks like negative 4, 1. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to draw my box. So I've got 4x squared and negative 1, right? And those two come from here. And then the two numbers that I chose were negative 4 and positive 1. So negative 4x. Oh, negative 4x. And positive 1x. And then I'm going to pull out greatest common factors. These guys are both divisible by 4. They both have an x. These guys are both divisible by 1. They do not both have an x, but this one will be positive. If I go up, these are both divisible by 1x. If I go up, these are both divisible by negative 1. So my factors are going to be 4x plus 1, 1x minus 1. In any order. If you wrote the top one first, that would be fine. I could have written it as 1x minus 1 and 4x plus 1. That would have been the exact same thing. I can do that for any of them. I'm just listing out what the factors are.